One thing I have come to know is that when people get a little bit of money, they gonna show out. The way T.I. has been acting ever since he won this lawsuit, I hope some lawsuits come back his way so he can give the money up that doesn't even belong to him. Let's get to it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another Kingeries video, child. We got a couple of things to talk about. The way T.I. has been tap dancing and acting ever since he won his lawsuit, child. Baby, what happened to the lawsuits and folks was accusing him and his wife of some stuff? Child, y'all need to pay up. And honestly, that money should even go all to y'all. It should be going to the girls that, were being used. Their likeness was being used. But that's a whole nother discussion. We're going to get into it. But yes, T.I., child, the way he was acting with that bouncer about girl T.I. Harris. I got two black eyes. Where they at though? Tap dancing, no seasoning seafood chain restaurant. Girl, I got a lot to say. I hope y'all ready for it. But what's going on, y'all? We got to talk about a couple of things. We got to talk about T.I. Got to drag him a little bit about his little bit of wig that's left. We got to talk about Jonathan Major's lawsuit being dropped. People are confused. And girl, we need to bring back media literacy because people were not reading the article. That lawsuit was dropped from his ex-girlfriend. People thought these were the charges. Reading Instagram blogs have really got us like people, all they want to read is the headline. That's it. Oh, we got so much to talk about. Got to talk about that. Got to talk about Beyonce halftime, Christmas, performance. I already talked about that on Patreon, but I'm gonna give y'all the clean version because y'all a bunch of kids. Ooh, don't drag me for using that, but she kind of ate that one little thing. Kendrick Lamar dropping a mixtape album out of nowhere. The girls are chewing it up and he whacked y'all fave. Baby, he whacked y'all fave. Ooh, Lil Wayne got whacked. A couple of other folks got whacked too. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about Jussie Smollett. The girls is celebrating. Y'all ain't gonna like my commentary on that, but yeah, we gonna get to it before you start disliking and dragging because y'all been ready to eat me up ever since I did that election video. Y'all been chewing me up. Somebody had commented and said, "Oh, you deleted the other video you talked about election." No, I did not delete that video, girl. I did not delete that video. Let me tell you something. I've been on YouTube. It'll be full-time 10 years next July. I am not built for social media, but I know how to build things to protect me from social media. And that is staying away from some of the negative comments. Once I do my video, I do my work and I go home. I look at the comments, but I pay attention to the thousands of people who mess with me, who understand where I'm coming from. And I understand that we're not always going to agree on things. But one thing about it, I'm not finna go back and forth with you in the comment section. I'm not finna drag you. I'm just not. I say what I said and I'm not changing it, period. Let's move on. Got to talk about people leaving Twitter. I have some thoughts on that. We're going to talk about all of that. And the Flow album, period. I have not listened to it, but I like them. But the backlash that they're experiencing from folks, we got to talk about that too. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and get into this mental health check-in. You look good. You don't, period. What is going on? I got to breathe, so let me. But I am breathing. I'm breathing. That's the best I can do. The last couple of weeks, I ain't been feeling it too much. I have not. There's just so much going on since the election and even before the election. It's just, I ain't been in the creative spirit. I just ain't been feeling it. I just ain't. So that's why I have not done many videos this month for YouTube, but I have been doing stuff on Patreon because I feel comfortable over there. But it just was a lot of negative energy in the air around the election after. It was just too much. And I just did not want to come and, post any videos and stuff. And folks were pissed. People were mad. People were upset. They were dragging folks. Like, people were upset. And I just did not feel like being on YouTube. I just didn't feel like doing any content. And that's what I say when I build social media for me. That is that I didn't feel it. So therefore, I did not post anything. I should have. This is the holidays. Ad revenue and all these things are high, but I was not going to sell my mental health for that. It wasn't worth it in the long term for me. So that's how I'm protecting my peace as best as I can. But yes, we back. And, we're going to give it the best we can. Come on, we're going to do it. So that's my thoughts on that. I hope y'all are ready for the tea, so let's get to it. Let's start off with y'all favorite Atlanta rapper, T.I. Harris. Clifford, the big red dummy. T.I., this video of him walking up to a bouncer, and the bouncer at this club is asking him for ID, and T.I. is like, I'm T.I. The bouncer's like, okay, what that mean? Like, show me ID, like, you're not getting in. T.I. is going off, like, what? What's going on? He didn't drag this man, say he had on a Walmart Versace shirt and da-da-da-da. What that mean, honey? What that mean when you was out here mad for losing that job on VH1? Like, you were mad that you and your family were not able to get that check anymore. T.I., you were hurting for some money. Like, let's not get it twisted. You and your family was hurting for some coin. This lawsuit, ever since y'all done won, baby, I don't know how many more blue-eyed eye drops your wife done got since she done got this coin, but y'all have been showing out. T.I. just been talking just mess. Like, one thing about certain folks, when they get some money, when black folks get some money, baby, they forget. Everything goes out. Everything goes out. So when you see folks get money and how they change, it just really shows you their true character. It just really shows you their true politics, because there's nothing wrong with this bouncer asking T.I. for ID. T.I., you have aged. You don't even look like the same T.I. no more. Had you went to a white establishment with that type of energy, I guarantee you would have pulled out your thesaurus trying to tap dance your way to, hey, young gentleman, I apologize for not showing up as my, full whiteness, but I'm trying to get in so I can get a cup of porridge. He wasn't doing that. You dragging the bouncer and doing all that talking mess to him as if the people who are buying things from Walmart and working class folks are not out here supporting you, out here making sure your bills is paid, showing up to stuff. The folks who buying Walmart Versace shirts showing up to that trash restaurant with that unseasoned meat you got. I already told you how I feel about restaurants owned by celebrities. I won't eat there. I'd rather eat at a Golden Corral that got a 72 score than be eating at a celebrity-owned restaurant. Just not gonna happen. Y'all cheap everything. Everything. I've seen it. Them folks will serve you moldy ice because they don't want to spend money on a better ice machine. They are not paying folks to clean these things, to disinfect. They're just not. It's a mess. But moving on, because I don't want to talk about T.I. too much, because I feel like my eyes about to turn blue and my dreads about to shrink. So let's move on. Let's talk about this lawsuit with Jonathan Majors being dropped. Jonathan Majors' ex-girlfriend dropped her civil lawsuit against him. That's it. The charges have not been dropped. He is still charged. He's still guilty of the things. People are getting confused and say, oh, y'all need to apologize to Jonathan Majors. That was a civil suit, meaning that she was suing him. I can't go to the state and the state sues for me. The state will find what was illegal and then charge it with the laws on the books. Yes, this happened to me, but they're charging you based off of the laws. Yes, a person can press charges, but the charges have to exist. From my understanding, and I'm not a legal expert and this is not legal advice, but my opinion, when you are doing a civil suit, you're basically saying this person did this to me and I need to be paid for it. Not that it was illegal or they broke the law, but I'm going to show you my case and how this person messed me over. But yeah, like people were getting confused and seeing this article and just taking the title and saying that the charges were dropped. The charges were not dropped. He's still found guilty. The jury felt him guilty. He is guilty on the charges, period. The lawsuit was being dropped. We don't know why she dropped the lawsuit. We don't know why. Maybe it was a settlement out of court. Maybe she's just like, hey, this is too expensive. It's not worth it. Whatever reason, she dropped it. But that doesn't mean it's a win. But I think with him being engaged to Megan Goode and all of that, this is adding to his, rebranding. Jonathan Majors is about to be using this marriage engagement. They're stretching it out because they honestly have, more to gain with this. They have a lot to gain with this situation because people know that this is more than likely something that came together and did for PR. Nobody's believing that Jonathan Majors is interested in black women like that. But people have been saying that Jonathan Majors have had a temper and has not been a so-called good person for a minute, dating back from a while. People's experiences with him on set and other things. They say they're not surprised by some of the things. Yeah, so yes, he dropped the lawsuit, and people are just confused about what that means. And I need us to actually read the articles. Read the article. I don't know, but we've been spoon-fed headlines and stuff from these Instagram blogs. So much misinformation is out here. Just so much misinformation that if it's just in the title, people will believe it. If it's in the font, not even reading the whole article, not even be able to decipher that, hey, this means the lawsuit. And I'm not mad at folks for not understanding that, because it's tricky. I'm not saying that people are less than for not understanding that, but when folks start trying to eat people up to defend a person who's been accused of these things, that's when it becomes tricky for me. Because had a person said, hey, I didn't know that Jonathan Majors charges got dropped, I wouldn't be upset with them. I was like, no, his charges didn't get dropped. He had a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit that his ex-girlfriend was filing against him for whatever that she wanted. That's what's happening. But when folks are getting online or saying, oh, y'all was trying to hate on this black man and turn into something, and you are now arguing on the behalf of somebody you do not know, you're using all of your energy to defend this person, and you're not even doing a good job because you haven't even read the article. That's when I'm gonna start eating your ass up. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. So yes, that's the tea on Jonathan Majors, child. So let's move on. Let's talk about Beyonce halftime performance. She will be performing at the Texans versus the Ravens game Christmas Day, and she will probably be performing music from Cowboy Carter. I'm not really sure what to say. The hardest working billionaire in showbiz, it is what it is. I've talked about it on Patreon. I did a video about it because the fans did ask me, the supporters on Patreon asked me to talk about it. I gave my thoughts. I'm gonna give y'all the clean version. I think that the only thing I'm worried about is Netflix going to be able to hold this? Is Netflix going to be able to give us no buffering? Because, girl, we saw what happened with that elderly fight last week with that cracker. We saw that. What's going on? How many toes is you doing? Netflix is trying their best to step outside and say, hey, girl, we live TV too. Like, look at this. And not interested in it. The hardest working billionaire I've ever seen. People were saying that they are Beyonce'd out. People were saying they're Beyonce'd out. And I think that's because Beyonce isn't like a lot of artists that puts out music and does these many things in a short amount of time. It just doesn't happen. I don't care what you're saying. Oh, she's promoting this and she's doing what's wrong with this, what's wrong with that. We can't stop her from doing it, but what we can say as the people who are consuming this stuff and purchasing this stuff is that, hey, I'm just not interested. And that's sending people up a tizzy. I don't understand why. I don't understand why folks are upset about that. Oh, yes, I do. Parasocial relationships. They feel like their fave's money is their money. They want to see their fave make it while we out here making payment arrangements. Speaking of, I got to pay Georgia Power Tuesday. But whenever it is, I got to pay them a couple more days. Moving on, child. That's my thoughts on that. Kendrick Lamar dropped his new album, child. And he been whacking the girls. Wiggy. He been whacking the girls. Kendrick ain't playing. Some folks are saying this is not an album. This is a mixtape. And dropped it random on a Friday, right before Thanksgiving. Smart. I've heard some snippets. It sounds good. The name of the album is GNX. Period. I don't wonder what that means. What is GNX for the Kendrick Lamar fans? The surprise album. What does that mean? I heard some snippets. I like it. There are some verses that are getting a lot of attention from some songs where he is taking shots at some of the rappers and people who were upset at him getting the Super Bowl halftime gig. He brought up Lil Wayne. In one verse, he said, I used to bump the Carter 3. I held my Rolly chain proud. Irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. Lil Wayne deserves this whacking. Because how he acted and reacted to Kendrick Lamar, the Super Bowl halftime thing in New Orleans, is just a tragedy, to be honest. It should not be like this from a Lil Wayne, somebody who is the GOAT. Lil Wayne is not a good performer. We've seen that even the little thing that he did Recently, it was just nobody even talks about that anymore. Like nobody's talking about that. Lil Wayne is not a good performer. Doesn't mean he's not the go. He's just not the go at performing anymore. He forgets his lyrics. He's oftentimes difficult to work with. That's what people have said about him, that he is difficult to work with and he doesn't show up to practice and he doesn't show up on time. That's what they have said about this man. They've not said this about Kendrick Lamar. The only criticism I've heard about Kendrick Lamar is that him being all these things and saying and speaking on specific subjects and also saying yes to the Super Bowl. That's the critique that I'm interested in. Yeah, he deserved this whacking. They said some couple of folks, other folks got some whackings and stuff. I haven't listened to the album. It's a lot of new music out. Rap, it's winning. Kendrick Lamar dropping this. It's been a good year for rap. It's been a good year. Has he even addressed Drake? I don't even think he addressed Drake. What's also funny, now I think about it, Not Like Us and none of the songs that he did are on this album. Wow. Somebody said that the label didn't even know he was dropping it, which is probably why it's a mixtape. But this does sound like something that is new. It sounds like something that just was made probably like a month or so ago, because apparently there's a verse from him talking about the Shits and Gigs podcast, the British podcast. He made a comment about them, and that situation happened not too long ago. Wow. This album, honestly, the way people are talking about it, it sounds like a blog post, to be honest, or a letter or something. Kendrick Lamar, leave it to him. Let's move on. Let's talk about other music. Yeah, Glorilla having a good moment doing this song with my girls, Flo. Yes, Flo, the group from the UK, Just for One Day. Oh, girl, they're going to eat me up for that. 2 in a row. Oh, child, I feel like a shred of pink trying to come out, but I'll cut her and flush her down the toilet and pour some Drano down. Period. So I like Flo. I will say this song that they did with Glorilla, it was cute. I liked it. I like More Than a Beat. I thought it was fun. I think that this is a good girl group. I've seen them recently paying attention to the music and stuff, and also how they perform. They have gotten better. They have taken criticism very well. They seem to be very likable, and how they engage with their fans. I like them. I enjoy them, and it makes me want to listen and consume their music. One of my friends bought a ticket. It kind of forced me to buy a ticket to their concert. They're coming to Atlanta. Girl, that ticket was $200. Ooh, girl. I ain't sent my friend $200 yet. I gotta pray about it. I'm breaking down. Somebody pray for me, because my pockets, I don't know if they, I had to tell my friend, hey sister, I love you down. If somebody else wants these tickets, let them go, because this is not a group that I have followed for years and that I'm excited about their concert. Doesn't mean that their music is not good. It just means that I don't know enough of them, but I'm willing to. But I have enough time. But I'm not sure if $200 is for a group I'm not sure about, like that I will enjoy the music. I will say that what I've heard, I can see me liking it, and also seeing how people are being disrespectful to this group. It's making me want to support them even more. People calling them everything but a child of God. They are trying to be so nasty to these black girls, and it's just how black gay men talk about black female artists, pop artists, and R&B art. It's just, we do a lot, and how you got these men saying certain things about this group. Well, I ain't out here doing this, and girl, R&B music in the UK is not selling. Like, they're doing that stuff. Yeah, they saying drip and all that other stuff. Girl, yeah, so what? What is it? I'm not, like, just what else? Like, folks talking about, they need to be singing it in they British accents. Just, oh my God, is the music good? Are they genuine? Whatever. Like, yes, they're purposely trying to get into this demographic because we consume R&B music over here. So yeah, if the music is good and they perform and they doing this stuff, and I ain't seeing too much ignorant stuff, I'm okay with that. Different than the white women y'all be letting come over here and sing R&B music. Girl, don't get me started on Miss Seven Rings. Period. So yeah, I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's how I feel about them. I just want to give them a little shout out. Speaking of, let's move on. I want to talk about this Jussie Smollett situation. I might actually leave this after that. The Supreme Court in Illinois has made a decision to reverse the charges against Jussie Smollett for the attack that he fabricated. They have reversed it, and people are now celebrating it. Jussie Smollett can now, whatever. He doesn't have to worry about it anymore. This case is over. People were responding to it and saying that Goode, he didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. He did not deserve this full power trip that Chicago police was on to charge him. They were doing everything in their power to get this man together. They were using all their resources, more resources than we have seen them use in very serious cases of people being harmed. Them and their years long of covering up certain things, using the power of the police department to protect certain police officers from accountability. Y'all were self-serving. This whole case was self-serving. All of it. I don't think that this response was necessary. It was not that serious. It wasn't that serious to go after him and try to punish him when, things like this do happen. However, let's talk and let's be honest. Jussie Smollett definitely lied about that. Jussie Smollett definitely lied. I think for me, a lot of folks are not really talking about enough is that you have this actor who is coined up, was making a decent amount of money. This light-skinned actor was making a decent amount of money and paid these two black immigrant men to orchestrate this thing to make him money. That's the conversation that I'm not seeing people have. These two dark-skinned immigrant men who are Nigerian immigrants, he used them. The power dynamics of that. When you see where these men were living at and how their apartments were, like they were living in poverty, like they were really struggling. He put them in harm's way because what if they found them and charged them? I mean, they tried to, but they end up telling what happened. What if they got punished and went to jail for this? I hate you're siding with the police because it's more complex than just that. It is way more complex than just siding with the police. I get that it sounds good to say that in theory you're siding with the police because some people did, quote unquote, side with the police and believe in the police, period. I believe Jussie Smollett. As soon as he said it, I believed it. When we started getting more information, stuff was getting sticky and it didn't make any sense. It did. Yes, the police departments do persuade folks to tell a story that is beneficial for them. Yes, they do. That does happen. And sometimes people are put in situations where they are a product of the environment and of what the world is. You have these two men who are struggling financially, obviously, and were taken advantage of by Jussie Smollett. And I'm just not okay with that. I think it means something that these men were immigrants and stuff. Like you're putting them in harm's way to benefit yourself. Yes, I'm not agreeing with him doing any jail time or all of that other stuff. I think, hey, as much time as Chicago police waste on a whole bunch of other stuff, like, hey, it wasn't that serious. I think if anything, it should have been a payout to these men that he, put in harm's way. I think it should have been some civil situation with them, with him hiring them to orchestrate some stuff. That needs to be talked about. But the police department, no harm was done. No harm was done. Nobody was harmed. Yes, resources and stuff. Y'all waste a lot of resources. A lot of y'all paying a lot of y'all overtime is wasted resources. When we shouldn't be building more police precincts, we should be building other things that is actual benefit for the community, period. But yes, it's way more complex than just saying we're siding with the police. Jussie Smollett, I believe that he did lie. I believe he did lie. I don't put it past him. I don't. But I don't think he should be punished in the way that he was. And I don't think for a second, had he been a regular person, that he would have got off like that. He was able to use his celebrity and his influence and his money to get this outcome. Him being a celebrity amped it up because they wanted to prove a point because of the visibility around it, but he was able to still use celebrity to protect him. And it worked out. So I think it's way more complex than that, but a lot of folks don't want to admit that. I don't mind saying the hard truth that this is what it is. Two things can exist. The nigga lied and the police shouldn't have been doing all of that. Two things can exist with the Jussie Smollett situation. But yeah, that's all I got. I hope y'all enjoyed this King of Reads video. Tell me what your thoughts. I know there's a couple of other things that I want to talk about. I'm going to get y'all that in another video sometime in the next couple of days. But y'all enjoy y'all weekend, y'all Friday, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, talk to you later. Bye.